And if you are planning to mail a letter or send a parcel through Canada Post today, you may want to hold off on that decision. Canada's Postal Service is now shut down because 55,000 members of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers went on strike just after midnight.
What we want?
A fair contract!
What we want?
A fair contract!
No justice!
No peace!
No.
The two sides failed to reach a deal in the last-minute negotiations after a year of trying to nail down a new contract. The strike is a huge concern for many businesses because it comes just before the busy holiday season. CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick is on the picket line in Toronto and joins us now live. Megan, what's happening where you are?
Well, we're at the South Central Canada Post plant. It's a huge property, Natasha, and so there are dozens of workers walking the picket line along a long stretch of the street. This plant operates 24 hours a day, and so I'm told by some of the workers here that at midnight, a minute after, a whistle blew out notifying the workers that they were on strike, and they came out of the building and started walking the picket line just after midnight. And so the union's saying that they have taken this action after failing to reach a deal. This came after just over a year of negotiations at the bargaining table. Earlier in the week, the union representing these workers had issued the required 72-hour strike notice, and then they did trigger that option, their legal strike position, again just after midnight. Earlier in the week, we had heard both sides, Canada Post and the union, saying they were far apart in terms of trying to reach an agreement on the issues. And one of those key issues is on wages. The union is asking for a 22% wage increase over 4 years. Canada Post offering 11.5%, they say, in terms of wages. And we've been talking to union representatives here, Natasha, who say what Canada Post has been offering in terms of wage increases is simply not enough, that workers are falling behind. The cost of living is so high right now. They say their wages are not keeping up with inflation and the high cost of living. Here's a little bit of what what the union is saying in a statement that they released. They said, postal workers are proud to serve their communities, and we want to do the job we love. A strike is a last resort. We still believe we can achieve negotiated collective agreements, but Canada Post must be willing to resolve our new and outstanding issues. Some of those other issues that they've been bargaining over also include safe working conditions and also retirement benefits, issues like that. We did talk to a union representative here on the picket line. Here's a little bit of what he told us earlier this morning.
We want to go back to work. The holiday seasons are coming up. While we're on strike, none of us get paid. We get an honorarium for being on the picket line, but we want to go back to work. We don't want the Grinch to steal our Christmas or the Christmas for all of Canadians.
They also don't want to be legislated back to work. He made that clear. He said he's encouraging Canadians to contact their members of parliament and express that these workers shouldn't be legislated back to work, in their opinion. He also accused Canada Post of bargaining in bad faith, and he called the wage offers from Canada Post ridiculous. So you can sort of get an indication, Natasha, of just how far apart the two sides are right now on reaching an agreement.
Megan, what are you hearing from Canada Post at this point?
Canada Post just released a new statement a few minutes ago saying they're disappointed that the union has taken this action. They are saying that postal operations, for the most part, are shut down across the country, mail and parcel delivery. Here's a little bit more of what Canada Post is saying in that statement. They say this decision will have a significant and immediate impact on millions of Canadians, small businesses and charities who count on Canada Post during the busy holiday season. As well, a national strike by Cup W means services to remote and northern regions that rely on Canada Post is shut down. And so they're saying, Natasha, even when this is resolved, however it's resolved, it will take some time for operations to get back up and running again. And so they are warning Canadians about the service disruptions. And they're saying one of the key issues from their perspective is the expansion of postal delivery to 7 days a week, so to include weekends. And that's in part aimed at delivering parcels over the weekend, which Canada Post only does right now by paying workers overtime. And Canada Post is saying they need to change their business model, essentially their delivery model, to compete in the marketplace right now. They've talked about the loss in revenues over the last couple of years. So they say they've been offering to add part-time positions in order to expand that service to 7 days a week. They've been saying that it's essential to change the business model for the future of the company, and it's critical to their ability to afford the offers. Canada Post says it has made a fair offer at the bargaining table. Natasha, we've requested an interview with Canada Post for today, and we'll bring any updates on that side. But that's what we're hearing from both sides so far this morning. Again, these workers out here saying they don't want to be on strike, but they felt like they had no choice.
CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick in Toronto. And Scott Peterson is in the studio now. You've got the business angle of this story, because when it comes to businesses, big and small, so much of this centers around the busy holiday season, and the strike is coming just before we launch into that season. So talk to us about the impact the strike could have.
Yeah, the Retail Council of Canada is very concerned for their membership, saying it's already the margins are razor thin as they are now. And over half of the business that's done by retailers in the country is done at this time of the year. And if margins are razor thin, it could be made worse if they have to pay a little bit more. Now, there's a couple of different things as well. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business as well, they say that still there's alternatives out there, but 80% of small businesses in the country still rely on Canada Post, particularly for letters. There's no alternative to that. And so here's one business owner. They distribute comic books, saying that done by the letter system, if they had to go to some alternative, it would put them over the edge. Here he is in his own words.
Letter mail doesn't have an alternative, and that's what most of our shipping is. So it's really just like asking people if they'd want to pay $20 instead of $2, you know. It's not really an alternative. There's no alternative available.
And for anyone using Canada Post for pure later, saying that the charges there are considerably less than going to, say, UPS or some other courier there. Now, according to Statistics Canada, there's 1.2 million small businesses in the country. They're responsible for half the employment. So this is a significant blow to them at this busy time of the season for them. And the last time Canada Post went on strike was 2018. And since that time, they've lost $3 billion. They lost over $500,000 last year. Of course, letter delivery is down. There's more competitors now for the parcel space. But nonetheless, Canada Post is supposed to be, it is a crown corporation. And it's not necessarily in the business of making money. It's in the business of supporting people, Canadians, and businesses across the country at the same time.
Okay, we'll continue to watch this story. Scott, thank you so much for that angle.
Thanks, Tasha.